A yearly theme isn't a word you have to try to live up to. It doesn't require you to have the year all figured out. It's something that helps you make decisions as the year unfolds. What deserves your energy and what doesn't. What a yearly theme is and how it functions. I first ran into the idea of a yearly theme on the Cortex podcast. I was already struggling with the idea of setting goals, so I was ripe for something different. A yearly theme is a lens, not a target. You use it to filter choices and help you make decisions that are aligned with what's important to you. It's like when you go to the optometrist and they say, which one's clearer, number 1 or number 2? When you're working with your theme, it helps tolerate friction when things aren't smooth sailing, and it's your North Star when motivation wanes. By checking in with it regularly, it helps you realize when course corrections are necessary. A theme is broader and more forgiving than a goal or a set of goals, and it can be applied across different areas of life, hopefully both work and personal. It also is more adaptable when life takes an unexpected turn. What my themes look like the past couple years. My themes for the last 2 years were structure and then follow through. You might be thinking, isn't this just another way to say word of the year? But it's different to me. For me, words of the year were inspirational, or they were about what I should be, about me and my intentions. Themes, at least the way I see them, they're about my life and how it can support me rather than resisting me. I came across themes in early 2024. The theme I set for that year was structure. At that time, I'd been living with some major life changes for about 1.5 years, and I was still feeling really displaced. I made some progress on structural things throughout the year, but I also learned something important, that I'm better at making structural things than actually finishing them or following through with them. So, 2025's theme was follow through. And I've done a much better job using that as my guide, but as with any theme, I think, it's surfaced other issues that now I'll respond to when I set my new theme. And if you've been watching any of my recent videos, they've been revolving around upkeep and maintenance, and those have become more and more important across different areas of my life. Also, I've realized that at this point, I'm needing to think and plan differently than I have at past times in my life. How to choose a theme, or how a theme reveals itself. When I say choose a theme, I don't mean sit down and pick one. Themes don't work like that, at least not how I see them. For me, a theme shows up when I stop asking what I want to accomplish and I start paying attention to what keeps happening. So instead of trying to name a theme directly, I ask myself some questions and just notice what starts to come up. Questions like, where am I putting in effort but not getting any traction? And maybe where I keep having to start over again. Not where I'm failing, just where I keep spinning my wheels. And then another one like, what would make my life feel lighter? Not in a someday ideal life sort of way, but just lighter than it is right now. I don't try to answer them perfectly or fully, and those are just a couple of examples. I go through other questions like that, and I look at what repeats across my answers. The pattern that I see, that's where the theme comes from. But the point isn't to solve anything yet. It's just to notice where my life seems to need some support. If you want a more robust set of questions to choose from and follow along, I'll email them to you and you can answer as many or as few as you like. There's a link down below. Decide now, later, or both. Once you notice these patterns, it's tempting to name a theme. And if one is already starting to jump out at you, great, go ahead, use it. But just don't feel pressure that you have to pick the perfect theme for the year. Deciding doesn't mean that you're stuck with it for the whole year. You can just try one on and adjust as necessary. But also, you don't need to rush it if nothing is calling to you just yet. You don't have to pick something just so that you can feel like you've done the thing. A yearly theme isn't something that has to happen on a deadline. It doesn't even really have to be yearly. The point isn't commitment, it's orientation. Letting things sit for a bit, often gives you better information, what keeps coming up and what won't seem to go away. So if you're feeling pressure to pick something out quickly, don't. You can put that on pause. You're allowed to notice without naming. A theme isn't about getting it right. It's about living the year aligned with what actually matters to you and spending less time fighting with yourself along the way. If you want to see where my theme has taken me this year, what I've been working on and thinking about lately, then the missing layer is a great place to start. That's that beginning of that upkeep stuff. And then I do plan and reflect in 2-month seasons rather than quarterly or monthly. And I'll be doing that again soon, so you'll have the newest seasonal stuff over here. And if it's not up yet, you'll have a past one. Thanks.